Kia kaha kia tātou. This government is launching an all-out attack on us as a people, on our very identity as tangata whenua, as Māori. We are under siege by this government. They're doing everything in their goddamn fucking power to get rid of us.
And here comes they are trying to erase us narrative. If you can convince those who don't know any better that the government that we have is trying to erase them, is trying to eradicate them, is trying to oppress them, if you can convince them with outrageous language that you haven't substantiated, well, then you can convince them to follow you to war. You can convince them to follow you in whatever direction you see fit. In this case, towards a Māori parliament, towards Māori political independence. These people are not genuine. These people have no regard for process. They have no regard for truth. They will say and do whatever they want, so long as it advances their cause. And in this case, by lying to the people, by lying to those who don't know better, by telling them that the Crown wants to erase them, wants to effectively commit genocide against them, by doing so, they believe, and they will, unfortunately, convince some to follow them on their journey towards a separatist country.
And they're creating all these little fucking distraction techniques with their bullshit little submissions, 5 days of a submission here, 5 days of a submission there.
All these distraction techniques, otherwise known as due process, so that the general public, including Māori, can have their say on any laws that are being passed. Apparently, the process in which Māori can have their say is an oppressive tool designed to prevent Māori from having their say.
O atu wera, we need to stop getting caught up in the weeds and look at the big picture. That we're continuing to subscribe to a model that was designed to assimilate, to continue to colonize, and to keep us as second-class citizens in our own country.
And I don't really need to address all of that. I'll just address the second-class citizens part. Love, you were in Paris like less than 2 years ago. I don't need you to talk to me about second-class citizens, thanks. Unless I haven't alluded to it already, have you seen your father's house? That's anything but a second-class citizen's house. Have you seen the Māori economy? That's anything but an economy that belongs to second-class citizens. Have you seen the fact that Māori have special electoral rights? That's anything but second class. And when I say special, I don't mean ones that reduce Māori's ability to have input into our system. It's ones that enhance it, that give them privilege in our parliamentary system. Māori electorate seats guarantee that Māori will have who they want representing them in Parliament. Guarantees. Guarantees. No other ethnicity has that. If anything, everyone else is a second-class citizen because Māori have preferential or privileged parliamentary laws for them. There are people in this country who have no idea just how privileged they are to have these ethnicity-based laws that enable them to have better representation. No idea. They actually view them and say the fact that anyone would suggest that these are wrong is racist, despite the fact that the existence of them is racist. The existence of them should actually insult you. The existence of them tells you that Māori cannot succeed in the parliamentary space without them. Of course they can. For many, it helps. For many, they simply just don't appeal to enough people that they can get into Parliament any way other than through a Māori electorate seat. But that being said, the current government has one of the highest makeups of Māori MPs, Māori ministers, despite not having a single Māori electorate seat. How have they managed that one? Simply by being appealing to the general voting public. They don't need no separatist, they don't need no racist nonsense to speak on behalf of Māori. But of course, the Pāti Māori being radicals, well, they have to rely on a small group of radicals to elect them.
Kei te noho wehe wehe rawa atu mātou. by design we are not unified, right? But you just imagine, just take one fucking minute of your day to imagine if we were all on the same page, not for my own little iwi or my own little hapu or my own little whānau. If we happen to be, just imagine, all on the same page for the sake of all of our mokopuna, Māori mokopuna. Can you imagine the might and the power that we would have? We could overthrow any government.
And then the penny drops. If Māori united, they could overthrow any government. Why say that? Why say that? Unless your intention was to mobilise Māori to either overthrow the government or no longer recognise them and establish your own separatist pocket of the country. Well, the answer is you wouldn't. Those are the two reasons you'd do so, and that's the two reasons that they have. It's the two reasons she has said this. The irony is, Māori have never been united as a people across the whole country, have they? They're tribal. That's how they were. Before colonisation, after colonisation, they've always been tribal, and that's okay. Every civilization has differences about them. Some civilizations are tribal. So this fundamentally suggests that Māori have never been united. So the idea that this tool that the Pākehā, the colonisers, have used to keep you separated and simply retain the status quo, if not united you more. Because now there are more iwi working together than ever before. So this whole narrative is rooted on a lie. It's predicated on a lie, simply. You're just reinventing history to push the narrative so that you can indeed engage in your revolution.
We could do whatever the fuck we wanted. Because on top of that, is the Māori economy is worth $70 billion. When are we going to realise how much power we have? Step into that power and assert that power. We have been so successfully colonised, it's not fucking funny. Because the minute that we start to think about ourselves and guarding our own cabbage patch, you know, being the guardians of our own little kumara patch here, there, everywhere, that doesn't work. And we're doing a fabulous job at lighting little teeny fires here and there. Because I want to do this, I'm going to light this little fire, I'm going to go to the tribunal, I'm going to do this to the High Court. What does that do when we're fighting our own little teeny tiny wars? When we can just come together and launch our own full-on attack, launch our own full-on agenda without permission, without the need to ask for anything from anyone, but that we assert our right under Te Tiriti o Waitangi to do what we need to do for our people.
In short, we need to do anything, absolutely anything, to take sovereignty of this country. We need to unite. We need to attack. We need to assert, and asserting by any means. She is explicitly outlining that Māori should rise up and overthrow the government. Explicitly. Not a word from mainstream media. Not a word. I even asked one of the journalists at the Toi Tu Te Tiriti protest the other day. I asked them, why haven't you covered the words of Kiri Tamihiri Waititi? She's just like, I'm just here to report on the hikoi today. That's it. Of course, that was always what she was going to say. But you know, the fact that not a peep out of mainstream media yet. Not a peep. Now, if Chris Lynch is correct from Christchurch Newsroom, police have at least started an investigation into the comments after complaints. So that's good. That's good to hear. But the fact that there hasn't been a peep out of mainstream media when this is one of the most influential people in the ears of the two most powerful men within Pāti Māori, that is extremely concerning. We can't shy away. We can't pretend it's not. We cannot pretend. Of course, New Sub thinks this is all a stunt. So, she's riling up the troops. She's riling them up to act in whatever way to Pāti Māori demands, even if they don't go to the lengths of physically overthrowing anyone. She's ensuring that she attracts a certain portion of the Māori population to back anything to Pāti Māori says. Anything. And that is the revolution that they are engaging in right now.
Only the colonized mind, the severely colonized mind, believes so wholly in the system of parliament. And if you're one of those people, you have to check yourself. We all have to check ourselves. Because by investing and subscribing 100% into a model like this, we're committing our mokopuna to another 180 years of injustice. We are committing our mokopuna, the mokopuna that we haven't met yet, to being under the governance of Pākehā. And we're not allowing for them. We're not creating the environment to commit them to tino rangatiratanga. So think about it. We need to pull our heads out our asses and look at it from a bird's eye perspective, eh? What are we actually doing here? The decisions that we're making today, how are they going to impact the mokopuna that we haven't met yet? Really fucking think about that. When are you going to start acting in your sovereign? And while you're thinking about that, you might as well also start thinking about how we're going to take our country back too.
What's funny, actually, what's ironic, what's really ironic about how she ended it, how are we going to take back our country? I do believe Te Pāti Māori raised a few eyebrows at the whole New Zealand First, let's take back our country slogan at the election. Yet all of a sudden, Te Pāti Māori themselves are using that very slogan. Because it's okay to take back your country when you believe in the cause. You see, the likes of Winston Peters, they're trying to take back the country from woke radicals and idiots who try and implement racial separatism in this country. Oh, I mean, like from these people who want to literally implement it on steroids. People thought, hey, Pūpua was bad. This shit's on steroids. This is far worse. This is saying that we Māori, us 3%, despite the fact that our population is 17 to 20%, us 3% who voted for Te Pāti Māori don't recognise the government. No, actually, the idea of our children and our grandchildren being, governed by these white people is disgusting. That is pretty much the vibe here. The idea that anyone who is not Māori governs our children, governs our grandchildren, governs any generation after us is revolting. Because Māori are superior in this area. In fact, the system of parliament is inferior to anything us Māori can dictate. Inferior. The system itself, just full stop, is inferior. Didn't even say inferior for Māori, just inferior. This is a Māori supremacist, ethno-nationalist supremacist movement. Simply no two ways about it. I mean, you cannot listen to what she said and tell me that she isn't an extremist, she isn't a radical, she isn't an ethno-nationalist, that she isn't, quite frankly, a supremacist in her beliefs, that she believes her beliefs are inherently supreme over others, that Māori are supreme over others, that Māori have greater rights and duties under law than others, that Māori are entitled to more than any others. How much more supremacist do you need to get? When do we stop hiding behind the stupid, woke ridiculousness of the 21st century and start acknowledging that, yes, Indigenous populations can be radical, Indigenous populations can be extreme, Indigenous populations can be racist, Indigenous populations can be supremacists. These people are rooted in a decolonization mindset. Decolonization means taking back all control. What, do you think that even if they take the long game approach of we just want a Māori parliament and to dictate law for all Māori, that they'll stop there? No, they will try everything they possibly can to wrestle as much control out of everything in this country from the hands of Pākehā. The more power they have to do so, the easier it will be for them. And I'm not doing this to scaremonger. I'm doing this to be real, because if no one's going to be real with you, who will be? Who will be? Will you be real with yourself? The media certainly won't. So unless you're sitting there and you're having this conversation with yourself every day, who's going to tell you? Who's going to tell you? The person that the media calls racist for saying it? The people that Pāti Māori demonize for saying it? Who? Someone has to, and I will.